In this video, I want to show how you can add a condition to formatting, and I don't mean conditional formatting, but a condition inside the actual formatting itself. If I select my numbers here and go into the number format, I can see under special, I have this option of phone number, which actually already reveals how to do it. To do a conditional in the formatting, you need to start out with square brackets, then your condition, and then close square brackets, followed by the formatting. In this case, it says if the number is less than this, use the first formatting, otherwise use the second. If I simply apply this, we'll see it works properly. The formatting looks wrong in the first 4 rows, but that's because it's not a valid phone number. It's trying to add a dash followed by 1 to 4 numbers, which is actually correct. And then in the next rows, we have 1 to 3 numbers, which follows the second part. And then lastly, we have the parentheses and 1 to 3 numbers added at the end. We can see that in the first rows, I have less than this number, which is why we use the first format, where we don't have the parentheses and then 1 to 3 numbers. And when we then have more than 7 numbers, we have the extra numbers wrapped inside parentheses at the start. And we can't have 5 numbers in a normal phone number. We can only have up to 3, but this is how the formatting looks. You can choose to add the formatting inside the format cells, but then you can't see it inside the sheet, and you might want to see it, meaning I can copy this and then use the text function. The documentation for the text function is also where I found how to do it. If we scroll down here, we can see special phone number. It has the condition. The documentation also suggests using the text function or the number formatting. And I want to add the same formatting using the text function, because then you don't manipulate the original value. Select that, and then inside quotation marks, I add my function, which is then the same logic. This time it's stored as a text. It's on the left on my cell, and if I then copy it down, it looks the way it's supposed to. And we can see here in the formatting, because there's no change between the options, that means it's text. Whereas on the left, it's actually a number, meaning we can format it. And this is what you expect from a function called text. You can have up to 2 conditions, which makes sense when we think about how the formatting normally works. In a normal formatting, you can have up to 4 values. You can have positive numbers, negative numbers, 0, and text. And if we try doing that, if I then copy down the formatting, we can see that now my negative numbers have a dash in front, 0 is 0, and positives have a plus in front. And we could also do that using a function, and I can have up to 2 conditions. If I do it using the text function, I can say my format should be, if the number is less than 0, I want to have a dash in front. If it's greater than 0, I want to have a plus in front. Otherwise, I want to output the value. We can see that minus is normal, and actually I have a space in front, which I shouldn't. We can see that I added a set for some reason. And then I need to copy that down, and then this is fine. Actually, I shouldn't have a space there either. The weakness of using this method is I can only have these 2 conditions, meaning that right now I'm not doing anything for 0, it becomes null. I could also say equal to or greater than 0, but now it outputs a plus, which I don't want, because there is actually 0, because the condition is actually met. I don't want that. Actually, we could say that the function should output a 0 instead, if the condition isn't met, because the text is still going to be text, because it can't be interpreted. And I can also add something in front of my text. I don't have 4 conditions, I have 2. Don't think I can say equal to 0. We can try. It's a bit finicky to use this, so you shouldn't have a lot of conditions. Then it might be better to use an if statement to make it easier for the reader. In my case, I think this is fine. Now I have conditioning for negative numbers and for positive and for 0 instead of having blank cell. And I can also add a prefix or a suffix to my text if I want to for some reason. And that was actually everything. So, yep.